Let's, oh boy, somebody forgot to plug the tractor in. It's cold out. Got another dusting. Winter's trying to get here. That starter don't like the cold. Goofy thing. There we go. Come on. 4430. 20. There we are. There you go, girl. Not bad for a 4430 and 20-degree weather. There's a unit we got. It's a old Vermeer BP 8000. It's a nice machine. It was priced right. Just needed a little TLC, so we put new hammers in it and then rebuilt that motor and then serviced the gearbox. And so far, knock on wood, it's a good machine. Back when we had dairy, when I was younger, when I was milking, we had an old tub grinder, and God, that was slow. The old Pat's grinder. And it was one of the things, like if you're bedding a lean-to, I'd park the 50-20 in the tub grinder and get the bale grinding, and then I could take the loader on that 4430, actually came on that 40-20, and you'd take the 40-20 out here and grab another straw bale and come up to the yard, and by then, you could drop it on top, and you had two bales up there spinner. Oh, it's so painfully slow, but this thing just eats bales. Like it's just pretty cool how good it eats bales. But we'll go grab a bale. What we feed is one wet and one dry of alfalfa, and we'll kind of talk about what our goals are and how that's working. And so let's give the 44 a minute to keep warming up, and we'll go get bales. So we got beautiful alfalfa and clover silage bales here, and then we've got dry clover and alfalfa bales. Anything that's questionable looking goes out to the side to become bedding, and they will, just because it goes to bedding, it's not being wasted. We did that, and it was pretty amazing. Pretty typical beef cows, as to you put a bale down for bedding, and the next day half to 3/4 of the bedding is gone. So I'll get lined up. I do the silage bale first, because then if it's questionable, if it's just a really nasty bale inside, then I'll load it up and I take it down the road, and there's an 18-acre field that I blow it out on, because if it's that ugly of a wet bale, I don't want them, it's not going to make great bedding. But taking it to the bred cows, if it's that moldy and ugly, I'm not risking an abortion or miscarriage or losing a calf, whatever you want to call it. I can blow that P&K back on my own ground and just be out the few dollars of baling effort before causing potential harm. So we'll get this guy loaded up, and then we'll grab a dry bale. When we first got the machine, we weren't sure what to do with the silage bales. One thing we need to do is make them a little bit bigger in diameter so they sit better on the forks. But it actually turns out pretty good. Is like all silage bales, I'll cut the plus on the end, cut it down the top, and then I wrap the white plastic and the net wrap to the fork and get them up there, and then I can get most of the plastic off pretty easy that way. Half the time it just stays with the fork when it dumps. How this one works. It's a little frozen on the bale. There we go. Now I just clean it. I'll let my arms down and then clean it up. Normally I do it from in the cab, but there we go. Then we start a little pile, and we're learning. Every year you always learn something new. So we make a little pile with the wrap. There used to be a service that they would give you bags to put the wrap in, and then they'd come around once a year or twice a year and pick that up. They don't do that anymore, so now what we'll do is make several small piles and then set them on my pickup and haul them up to the dump. But well, let's grab a dry one. It's frustrating to find out that you had a hay probe moisture reader problem after the fact. You put up all that hay that, you know, you thought was dry because you moisture tested it and it said it was good to go, and your gut is like, you know, it seems a little tough, but the moisture meter says it's good to go, so I guess we go. And then you put up 100 bales of beautiful alfalfa and clover that turn out to be a lot of bedding quality, in my opinion. But yeah. So we got steers, heifers, cull cows on that side. The mama cows on this side with the bull. They come up here for water, and we got them cut off. We got the old concrete lane here still because of rainwater and runoff. Your feedlot manure, you lose a tremendous amount of your nitrogen, sulfur, and P and K credits. Well, they go into the lagoon because on the other side of the lagoon is the ditch that where the water starts leaving the farm. It's immediately to the river. So we got to really manage our nutrients here. But look how nice that looks. Oh, I can't wait for you guys to see this. All right, so first question is, why are we going through the hassle of processing bales? Why don't we just unroll the bales? Well, this isn't a hay field. We can sacrifice this field. You can see it gets a little bit beat up. It's very beat up here, but overall, during the mud spell that we had a week ago, there wasn't too much damage. But I need to farm through this next spring. This coming spring, we're probably going corn back here. So, one, we just talked about leaching nutrients. Well, they poop on these strips. If it wasn't for this dusting of snow, so she gets up, she'll probably poop. They lay down, they poop, but they utilize the strips. And you can clearly see that is where your manure is. So we've got this pattern going across the field. We'll get to the other side and we'll fill in the gaps coming back. So why unroll? So I can farm through with row crop equipment next spring. There is absolutely nothing wrong with unrolling bales out here. If this was a hay field and I was a Greg Judy type guy, where I had no row crop to the farm, just cows and hay, I probably would just be unrolling bales as well. the other flip side is them silage bales come February and March are froze solid. You're not unrolling them. The alternative would be to take a chainsaw and cut them in half while you're hooked to the unroller, and then take off and let them fly apart that way. But so that's the biggest reason of why we're doing what we're doing, and it's working quite beautiful. This hay right here was a new crop clover that was mostly foxtail, ragweed, and lamb's quarter. So I expect a little more waste out of that hay. It's quite fascinating how good they'll clean that up. I mean, that looks like a lot there, but there's not much there. The amount of waste feeding this way, well, there is no waste because anything extra is just going back into our soil, and so we're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul as far as P&K on the farm goes. And I don't want to push the cows enough to force them to clean it up 100%. There's other guys that could, but to me it's not worth it. Not in our weather conditions and environment. It's not worth it to try to force them to lick up, because you can see there's exposed soil in there. That is not thick at all. So it's just the stems that they're just being a little fussy over. But we'll pick up where we left off. So it takes me about almost 6 bales to do one pass. And so yeah, where we did unroll out in the hayfield, it worked really well. It unrolled thin enough that by late season, the clover was coming back through the hay mat. So I just got to hop out and switch my hoses from that gate to the rotors, because I've only got 2 outlets right now. I'm collecting parts to add a 3rd remote. But yeah, this is working good. We'll grind the hay and get out and look at it. Let's get going. I try to take it easy on the silage bales because they start to feed themselves like that. So that's pretty much your first bale. I'll go cut. That's the first bale. I'm just taking a few seconds to clean it up. And I'll lower that bale down and cut that net wrap and get that bale loaded up. Now we go to the dry bale. I don't want it too thin. It takes a second. I don't have the bars set very aggressive. So I could, my lever disengaged. This one's going to carry us a long ways. There's just a little chunk sitting over on that wall. He'll fall down. He'll get out of there. We'll go back and look at what the feed looks like. Well, let's look and see what we've done. And so it starts all a little thin as the hay starts feeding, but that's okay because it is just all leaves. All leaves. Oh my Lanta. They will lick this clean. They will lick that clean. That is that is really amazing what it does. And you got big stemmy first cut hay. And so I expect them to leave some stems back. But that baleage, oh, look at that. Nice fine stem drought alfalfa. It's soft. Lots, I mean, just leaves and leaves and leaves. My George. That is beautiful. I wish he had smell-o-vision. Oh, that is identical to what used to come out of the Big Blue silo. So yeah, so they're gonna pick away at this. It's fun. This almost is, to me, I enjoyed feeding cattle. I hate cows. I don't hate cows, they're just a pain in the ass, but I've always enjoyed putting good quality feed in front of a cow and just watching them eat and lift their head up and gump, gump, gump. Big tagless. Yeah, this is, it's like TMR feeding without the TMR and all the purchased stuff. The way they attack this windrow. So I mean, as far as beef cows go, they don't know what a bad day is. But yeah, kind of a long video to get to a short statement of why we are processing the bales the way we are and why we're doing it. And but that's the method behind our madness. And on this 30-acre field, by the time we're done, you're gonna have, you know, we'll put down 100 pounds of phosphorus and a couple 100 pounds of potassium, and all the time they pee, that nitrogen is out here, and you can't afford to buy that kind of fertility program out here. Plus the carbon and humus materials coming off of melting that corn or that hay into the soil and all them other benefits. It's like, oh man, we got videos. We'll talk about confinement versus cows on grazing and stuff. But also, like you say, the manure is here, and then we'll have a pass of manure here, and you've already got a pass of manure there. I can do this in the winter time, so then come springtime, half to 2/3 of my manure work is already done. I don't have to haul it, and a lot of benefits to running the cows on the land versus confinement. But that's a different video. I'm just gonna end this one right here. Fold up and go. It's Sunday. We'll only work a few hours today. Tomorrow it starts over again. Well, you guys are in luck. We get a bedding day as well. So I'll get on the concrete lane. The gate girl, my version of a Vanna White, will swing the gate towards me, and we just got to bed the steer side. Not the cow side is plenty good. They hardly, I mean, they are out there 99% of the time, so they'll use 1/10 the bedding as the steers. But yeah, she'll open towards me, and I get up there and we just start filling that side. Probably go through it a little faster than we should, but you know, it's nice to have nice clean cows as well. misty, so all I was seeing through the camera was the reflection. But guys, there we go. There's the introduction of our grinder. And the biggest, the biggest thing is it's saving us a lot of, it's adding value to the feed. I know it sounds stupid, but there's a lot of questionable bales that if we set them out there, that they're just going to leave a big chunk of that core, where if we blow them on the field or in bedding, they'll lick up the good stuff. They can easily sort through it. So we're actually getting more days on feed for each bale, if that makes sense. Not on the good stuff, but on the questionable stuff. If you got a bale in there that's got some caramel or black to it, that is where you get a lot more days or a lot more value out of that bale. But we're just yammering. Everybody's bedded and fed, and now I just do some chores and go home.